And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's incoming transmission. And as you can see below, we have a very, very special guest today. A very special guest. It makes me both sad and happy to have this guest on today. Sad that he recently retired, but happy that he's on our show and he's doing one of his final live streams here on our channel.
Now, Neil, I told you, we're gonna. I was gonna try to get somebody big for you because you were so upset during the first and second segment.
Yeah, I was a little bit.
I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's make it happen. The man that gave you the pillar system alongside some very, very talented assistants, if I'm correct, and also the man who inspired Nev to go and do this, and I'm very grateful that Nev was inspired to do it, and I now have him as a co-host. Warrior, welcome to the program, my friend.
How's it going, you guys? How you doing?
Well, I'd be doing a lot better if CG get off their arse and give in to your demands to bring you out of retirement. But for now, I'm just happy that you're here talking to us, buddy. And we're doing the cowboy thing.
Yeah. I figured I'd pay homage to my late father. This is my late father's cowboy hat. I don't do cowboy hats well. I normally wear ball caps. I got a bit of a receding hairline, but no, my father was a genuine cowboy. In fact, he was he rode bucking broncos and all the good stuff. He's won a number of awards and stuff like that. That's for another story time, for another day, because YouTube, my friend, is not over. I've got plenty story. There's a lot of fun stuff still to do on YouTube. That's far from over, but I wouldn't say they per se. They were just a small list of things that. And I wasn't even. It wasn't even a complete, concordance of things that I thought were wrong. It was just a small list of things, because there was a lot. Like, I didn't even go into things like, characters that were not usable, or mods 2.0, or the lack of ships, introduced into the game, or things like that. Like, there was just so much more I could have got into the game that I didn't. So I wasn't trying to be like, people like, oh, are you serious? Like, is that your reasons? It's like, well, it's just some. Like, I was just listing some, and honestly, the two biggest reasons were not even Capital Games related. One of the biggest reasons was time investment, honestly. And that has nothing to do with Capital Games. Honestly, that has to do with me, the amount of time investment I had wrapped into the game, with two different accounts, and doing Scissorman. And there were days where I was finding myself doing Grand Arena, and there would be days, and not always, but there were days where you'd have territory wars and a territory battles line up in the same day. Or not territory wars, but territory battles and Grand Arena,
yes,
hit on the same day. And so you'd have like all your Grand Arenas and your territory battles, and I'd have that on two accounts, plus your dailies, plus your arena climbs, and I had two different accounts, and I had them staggered on purpose because it's really hard to try and climb in the same hour for two different accounts, because I a lot of times would be on the same device, and I would have to try and switch accounts on the same device. That's difficult. So I tried to stagger my payouts. Well, then you try and do climbs. Plus, I had to do a lot of battles, especially on Scissorman. To climb, you'd have to do 5 to 8 battles, sometimes more a day. So I found myself doing 2 to 3 hours of battles in a row between the two accounts. And so I found myself doing 5 to 6 hours of gameplay a day. Just to try and keep my head above water. And I don't know, some people out there might be able to do
people who have no lives. Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah. Well, there was a suggestion out there that, if you love Scissorman, but you don't love your Warrior account anymore, just give up Warrior and play Scissorman. And that's an oversimplistic solution. And I tried that for 6 months. I basically put Scissorman as the forefront for the last 6 months, over 6 months. And I basically tried to semi-retire Warrior, and I tried to kind of just ignore Warrior as much as I could. It's what actually kind of got me kicked out of Team Instinct, because I was not spending a lot of time on it. They noticed it, and then they used a stupid reason to kick me out, because honestly, the reason why they kicked me out wasn't the real reason. And
Yeah, we
everyone
all
knows
know.
that.
We all remember that.
It was really the inactivity. I know it to be true. It was the inactivity, and they know that to be true. It wasn't with the reasons they stated. It was really they saw my activity level dwindle, and they just wanted to replace me. So, and that's fine. I just wish they would have been more honest and upfront about it. But my brain is not hardwired to say, don't play that and don't log into that and don't do that. The game that you've spent the thousands of dollars on, but log in and play this for 3 hours a day when you could log in and just keep this on cruise. I mean,
Yeah.
I could go in and I could get my at least my dailies done, and at least my, I have the most Zetas in the game of any character, of any person. I literally have more Zetas than any person in the history of this game. And to just like walk away from that, it was like, my brain didn't work. It was like, I either have to, it's all or none. I either have to give the whole thing up and walk away, or I have to do all of it. I have to maintain that account while I play Scissorman. And I think anyone in my shoes who's competitive knows that. It's either all or none. So,
I mean, you are going to
that's just the way
you are going to be you are going to find a a trusted friend to maintain those accounts in the event you come out of retirement.
Nope.
Surely, no,
not at all.
Completely
not at all.
mothballing the accounts.
Yep, completely mothballing them, and they will go terribly obsolete. And I will be. It's a true sacrifice, because I will go genuinely from the #1 position with most Zetas in the game, beating all whales and krakens, which is a genuine achievement, because there are a lot of people that have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars more than me and have less Zetas that are going to now pass me because of just getting Zetas every day and every week that I'm no longer going to be getting because I'm mothballing the account. I'm giving that up. But I genuinely need to let it go. As a famous person once said, let it go, let it go.
I mean, that I can't even imagine putting it on the shelf and just letting it mothball. I mean, Warrior, I commend you, but I'm very sad. But for those that didn't get to tune into your last stream that you did with Scissorman, were there any big surprises or big reveals that you did in that stream that they should go check out after this show ends?
Well, I actually left some breadcrumbs over the last few months, but not last live stream, but the live stream before. I'd actually made my decision to quit a few live streams prior, and 2019 was a year where I had come to reconciliation. I was going to walk away from the game, and I actually told the entire community I was quitting 2 live streams ago through the word humility. And in my story time, I actually used the word that I was getting from 2019 was the word humility. That's what 2019 was telling me, that 2019 was bringing me to a point and a place of humility. And I kind of tell the story. I tell a story, and then I bring story time around. I always have that kind of that moralistic tone to my stories, right? Like they're funny or they're crazy or they're whatever, but there's always that moralistic tone. And where I brought that story time to was humility. And I brought multiple stories from multiple different angles to humility. And then that was kind of my hint to the world that I was going to be quitting. And then last time I ended up cracking the egg that I'm quitting. But that was my primer 2 weeks ago, was that humility was what it was going to take for me this last week, to be able to do it. Because for me, I mean, my freaking call name, you know what I mean, on YouTube is Warrior.
Mhm.
Come on now, you know what I mean? Like, there isn't a more prideful name to have on YouTube and playing a game than like Warrior, right? And so to quit a game, to like walk away from a game, to lay that down and to call it quits and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing. And I always tell people, like, right, your journey's not over. Your journey, it's what you go through. It's not how you go through. It's not what you go through, but how you go through it. And it's your struggle. It's your how you get through it. And you don't, it's not about, you're not a failure until you quit. It's once you quit, that's when you have failed at something. Your definition of success, my definition of success always has been, you're succeeding when you're continuously moving forward motion towards your goal. So if you have any forward motion towards your goal, you're succeeding. When you stop having forward motion towards your goal, that's when you have failed. And so I realized that to have success in the next stage of my life, I had to fail at Star Wars Galaxy of, and so that was going to require humility, and that was revealed to me. And I realized I was going to have to have a stage of failure in my life, and that doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't bode well with, because I'm like, no failure, can't quit,
Well,
can't quit.
I wouldn't.
To come to that point,
I wouldn't call it failure as such. I think. I mean, I'm trying to think of another word for it, because there was no failure in either of the accounts. You succeeded to the heights of the top of all of the arenas, all the squad arenas. You succeeded in achieving Kyber. So I wouldn't say it's. I mean, the forward motion has definitely stopped, but I wouldn't say it's ended in failure. I think it's ended. It has ended in. Once you've succeeded at something, you still have to stop, don't you? It's just the next step of the next journey, and I think that's one of the things that I'm, not just me, but everybody's probably going to be tuning in like mad to your live streams, because we don't know what to expect, because you're not going to be playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. It's like, we know we're going to get story time, but what else are we going to get? Is Sure Shot still going to be your wingman on your live streams?
Yeah, and what's really cool about this is, we know story time's not going to go away. We know that it now opens it up to having podcast style things like what we're doing right at this very second.
Mm-hmm.
Something like this now, it opens the way to talk about literally anything. So we can open up dialogue about anything, and we can have more banter. But what it also opens up is, now I have individuals in my life that are really fun to hang out with. So now I have an opportunity to bring in new individuals that the community have never got to meet or know, because they weren't relevant, because they didn't know the game. And so because they didn't really have game knowledge, they really couldn't be brought in. But now, because the topics are going to be more wide or varying, I can now bring them in. So I have a multitude of new individuals that the community gets to meet, that are people that are special to me, that are funny and candid and funny and quirky and like really cool people. So people get to experience a new layer and a new depth of Warrior, and people in my life, they're going to get to meet and experience these individuals on a podcast style level, where they get to just see the banter. And that's one of the things people love. Two things, they said, I love the like banter between you individuals when you're sitting there talking, because really it was like the game was in the background. They were kind of enjoying that as just something in the background, but then it was the banter. And then, of course, the story time at the end, like, are we getting that? Are we getting that? And if I forgot or was about to forget, people would be like, you can't stop until you do that. Like, and I'd be like, all right, I'm getting out of here. And they're like, wait. So, the two things that they like the most, are not going away. It opens it up for new individuals to be brought in, and it opens it up for depth of types of conversation. The other thing is when I was doing the YouTubing the first couple of years, I really enjoyed the game, and I started getting wrapped up in the monetization aspect, and started talking to Mobile Gamer and Arnold, and it was like, your videos have to be 10 minutes long, and you got to put so many ads in, and at 4 minutes and at 8 minutes and blah 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 blah. I don't care about that anymore. I don't care. I mean,
are we going to get some long form
if
videos from you?
If you're going to get what?
Are we going to get some long form
Say
videos
that
from
again?
you?
Long form.
Well, both short form and long form. I mean, if I am on my live streams, always are like an hour and a half, and I mean, they'll probably be shorter now. So people that like my live streams but want to tolerate shorter versions, like 30, 45-minute ones, will probably get those slightly shorter versions. So they'll be happier because they can probably get them in a little bit like a shorter format, and they won't be quite so long. So they'll be a little more tolerable, and or a little bit more palatable. But I can now do like, I don't even know what to call them, but just like little 2-minute snippets. They won't even have ads and stuff. They'll just be like my thoughts for the day. I get oftentimes these like bursts of motivational like moments, and I throw these things up on my family and my friends, and like people in my life say, "Oh man, you're so motivational. You should be a motivational speaker." Like I get this all the time. You are always spinning things positively. You're a perpetual optimist. You're always, you're my mentor. Like these random people that hardly
Always
know you,
having
like, you're my mentor.
epiphanies,
You're
are
my
you?
mentor. What's that?
Always having epiphanies.
Yeah, I am really. It's like, always having these like moments in time where I'm just like, this is the a great way of thinking about that. And so I'm like, I could just have these moments in time where I just, write something down and just spend, 90 seconds or 2 minutes and just throw it on a video and then just throw it up. And, if 5 people watch it and it impacts 3 of them, or if 100 people watch it and it impacts 30 of them, dude, that's 30 people that it made their day. It made them smile, or they got to see some personality that they, hadn't seen. And the thing is I used to do, I don't know if you remember, but my original YouTubing days, I would turn my phone sideways, play the game, be a dork, and throw up 5 to 7 videos a week. And there was hardly any monetization. And I just had fun. And that's when in my first year, I went from 0 subscribers to 30,000 subscribers in the first year. And I didn't know anything about anything. After the first year, all of a sudden it became this big like job. And it was like, all of a sudden I was like, Mobile Gamer was big, and like Arnold. And by the way, the first year I was bigger than Arnold. After that first year, he caught me, and then it became a job because I wanted to be bigger than him. I wanted to stay bigger than him. But then, of course, the next year he like passed me, and it was all over after that. But Arnold, the next year, and it became like a big business job thing. And same with Mobile Gamer, became like a big job. And then, of course, year 2.5 to 3, Cubs came out of nowhere, and he grew pretty fast in that year 3. But that's when it started to become unfun, because it became like a process and a job and a thing. And I started having to like go home and make it formal and like have a studio and like talk and like, screw that. Why does it have to be all like that? It's not about any of that. It's about just having a moment, capturing that moment and giving that moment to the people who matter, which are the people that I've connected with that are tuning in. There's people that are sub to me that there's a reason why they had a connection. There's a reason why they tuned in. There's a reason why they are listening. There's something there that they heard. There's something there that they connected to, and that's it. It's literally just a raw emotion, and that's what they're looking for, and that's what that's what the YouTube experience is all about. And I think that's the big picture kind of epiphany that I think I wanted to get back to. But I had this back in October. I actually knew I was going to quit in October, but I stopped basically all my spending in October to go like November and December with basically no purchases. I can't say I spent nothing because I spent like $20, but I wanted to do virtually no spending. For a whale, that's no spending on my Warrior account. My Warrior account to spend like $20 is basically to say free to play for my Kraken account.
Drop in the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, it's so Warrior. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you have, I don't know if you have mentioned this anywhere. Do you have any regret, A, of quitting something that maybe you didn't get to do, or B, what it would be your biggest regret, again, if any, in your entire Swago YouTube, time?
Any regret, like in the last 4 years? Do I have any regret in the last 4 years?
Any regret in the last 4 years, and is there a regret in hanging the hat up?
No regret in hanging the hat up, and regret probably with the only regret I have is the amount of money I spent. Yeah, definitely. I always made money on YouTube. And so I always used, and you'll hear this, okay? I'm going to point this out, and you guys go watch the other YouTubers. Matter of fact, go back and watch different YouTubers like, I'm going to actually call out Darth Microtransaction. He's a good guy, really good guy. I like him a lot. But he just made a video on me quitting. And in that video, he uses this excuse. And I'm only using this example so you guys can see my point. Because then you'll watch his video, see the point, and go, oh my God, Warrior's right. And then you'll see it in the future. You'll see it in Cubs Fan Hunt. You'll see it in Arnold. You'll see it in Mobile Gamer. You'll see it in literally every single YouTuber. And this is my regret. And this is, I think, someday all of their regrets once they quit. And they'll look back and they'll go, this is my regret. When you're in it, and hopefully this won't be regret. When you are a YouTuber and you do well, you'll start to get advertising dollars. You'll start to get people that approach you for doing little snippets in videos. You'll start to make money off of, I actually make money off of Amazon. I have a shirt, Teespring t-shirt thing. So I've got. Go ahead.
We have Going Nerdy. He gets money from Audible, and we have that Audible commercial that we play. So,
yeah. So I've got money coming from that and this and this. So you get all these little things, and then I've got Patreon, and people support me through Patreon. So you've got these little well springs of money, and so you start to make money, and it starts out at 50, and then 100, and then 400, and next thing you know, you're making 1,000, and you're like, oh my God, if I'm making $1,000 a month, I can spend 100 on the game. Why not, right? Because it's a percentage of what I'm making. So why can't I? It's a justification. And the game, I want to be good at the game, and I need to show the world what the game has to offer. I need to open these packs for my viewers. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I opened a pack and said, I'm going to open this pack for you guys. Oh, crap. That is so stupid. That is so stupid. I can't tell you how many times I use that stupid excuse. I'm going to show my viewers. I'm going to take the bullet for you guys. What kind of bull crap malarkey is that? How many times did I lie to myself and say that and use that excuse? And what happens is you start making money at YouTube, and that money there's nothing wrong with making money at YouTube. It's a job. There's literally a ton of time investment. So you should be able to trade time for money. Everyone else does it. They go to work. They put in hours, they walk away with a paycheck. So as YouTubers, if we put in time, we should walk away with a paycheck. If you're not, then YouTube may not be for you, and you're maybe just doing it as a hobby, and that's fine. But if you do it long enough and you put in enough hours, you may want to not do it as a hobby, or you may want to pick a different place that makes you more money if this is where you're trying to make money. But eventually you start making enough money that you start what you call investing your money into the game. And Darth Microtransaction in his last video said, yeah, if I wasn't making money on the game, I wouldn't spend in the game, but I spend in the game because I make money from the game. And I used to say that all the time. Oh, well, I make, a lot of money from YouTubing, so I spend some of it on the game. I'm reinvesting the money my patrons give me back into the game because it's the money they're giving me. So I'm giving it back to them in a sense because I'm putting it back into the game so they can kind of see and know more about the game. But, that's a load of crap. Honestly, the patrons and the other people and the advertising dollars, every penny of that really should have gone into my wallet and should have gone into supporting my family, my kids, and everybody. So I would have been happier and more fulfilled. And this whole time, I would have had less regret because the truth is I probably would have had a better financial perspective and possibly a better time perspective, because when you spend money on something, you spend more time on that something. And the more money I invested, the more time I invested, and the more I felt like I had to be in the number one guild because of the money I invested and the time I invested. And it's a perpetual cycle that puts you into this state of chaos. And honestly, I watch Mobile Gamer, and he's throwing money at the games now because he feels like I've got to, because I don't have a dev account. Arnold is now a Kraken. Arnold buys everything. And I know he's making six figures, but if you're spending, if he's making $100,000 a month, but he's making $100,000 a year, but he's spending $50,000 a year, he's making $50,000 after he spends in the game, but he's still throwing $50,000 of his earnings away to a worthless game. And he could be sacking that away, paying back, his dad and paying off his loans. You know what I mean? And I know how much this stuff costs. And, I look at that and it's like, I know for me, it's a regret. And I know that there are people with different spending amounts and stuff. And I can say I made more than I spent, so I can justify it, but I can't. Because even if I made more than I spent, it's a stupid justification. And I don't think any YouTuber should use that justification. Speaking from personal experience, I think it's a dumb justification. Just because you make money on YouTube, you should spend your earnings. That's like someone saying, I work at a bar and I'm a waitress and I serve people beer all night and I made $1,000 as a waitress. And because I made $1,000 as a waitress, I went ahead and spent $800 on beer for myself. I deserve it. It's a percentage of my earnings going into beer, and it's beer that made me money. I'll spend my $800 on beer, and after all, I should know about beer. I mean, it's what makes me my money. No, screw that. That's a really stupid circular reasoning that doesn't actually make any logical sense. But it took me literally until October of this year, and for a really smart cookie, it took me a long time. And yes, I'm hitting myself with an empty candy cane.
So let me get this. So the house, so the Warrior household is now a swugger-free zone, right? So when SureShot comes over, is he allowed to talk? Is he still playing his game? Is he allowed to talk about you with that, or is it like, it's like an alcoholic? He can't. You can't play it, so he can't play it when he comes over as well.
No, you know what? Honestly, he's like totally invigorated. He went on a vacation for the winter for Christmas, and he came back and he's like, "Man, I've been playing like both the accounts. I'm so excited. It's been so much fun." He's like, "How's it going?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm quitting." He's like, "What?" He's like, "No way." And I'm like, "Oh, the last live stream we had done." Everybody donated to get him that $100 hyperdrive bundle, and he was so excited about that.
I hate that thing.
Reinvigorated him, and I'm just like, to each his own. He had been so good about not spending for so long, and he hardly ever spent anything on that game anyway. So he was kind of getting to that point where he was thinking about it, and then that just reinvigorated him. So he's on another plane. He's enjoying it. You know what? To each his own. He's not in a place where he's having that feeling. And that's the thing. I'm not asking anybody to quit the game. I'm not telling everyone their journey. Everyone's on their own journey. It's what's right for me right now. And it's where I needed to be for me. My brother, at some point is probably going to quit because it's probably going to be what's right for him. I have a friend that's been playing it. He's a friend of mine, got me into it. He's still playing. He's never going to probably quit the game, but he's also a free to play guy. So, he's going to keep doing his thing. Biggest thing that makes me kind of sad, it's not a regret, but I would say it's kind of sad, is just knowing that I have so many people that I've helped over these years, and now I'm going to like slowly start to wane in my knowledge, and they're going to be like leaving comments on my old videos like, is this video still helpful? And be like,
is this still relevant?
I have no idea.
Warrior,
Like,
does the pillar system still work? No, it doesn't. Go buy a hyperdrive bundle.
Yeah. Like, basically, yeah, sort of. I've got like 1,000 videos. I'm sure some of it's still relative, so sure, watch them all and let me know. Just kidding.
Leave a thumb up or a thumb down. That'll tell other people.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Warrior, we're very thankful that that you've took some time. As you said, time is our most valuable resource. I preach that any chance I get. But you spent some time to swing by and talk to us. I am very grateful for that, and I really hope you do stay in touch as well, because you're a great guy as well.
Yeah, and if you just want to shoot the breeze or chew the fat, doesn't have to be Swugger related. If you want to do so, I'm more than happy to talk philosophy any day of the week. Much happier talking philosophy. So yeah, if you ever want to talk about stuff like that, yeah, more than happy to have you on.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. I love it. Like I said, I had a fun journey on it. Star Wars is a pretty awesome game. Like you said, I doubt a lot of the things that I griped about will be fixed, and that's okay. It's not my game, it's theirs. So it's that journey. Everyone has their own journey. So if you enjoy the game, play it. And if you're feeling that urge that you should quit, in the famous words of Kylo Ren, find the strength to do it. I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Find the strength to do it. You can do it. I promise you. If it's something that you feel the urge that you should be doing, like you should be hanging it up, then you should hang it up. I remember when I first came in, it was Tiny Grimes, and there was a few others that were from Team Instinct that had spending problems. They ended up going on to Reddit and had posted some large diatribes of like kind of how it had ruined their marriages and things like that. And I just remember that really searing, that when it was time, I needed to make sure I walked away honorably and kind of got out when it was time. And, in October, I knew that it was time. And so if you're out there and it's one of those things where you feel like this is an addiction and you're not controlling it, or, you're hiding it, and you feel guilty, or you feel like it's going to cause a divorce, or you're feeling suicidal, or there's things out there that you're feeling out of control, reach out privately or publicly for help, because the game is never worth those things. So just reach out for help.
That's so very, very true. And we hate to see any of our friends leave the game. But if it is causing social problems, you need to take steps. We love our community and we love our players.
Yeah.
But we are community positive, and we have to support the community itself, because who knows? Maybe one day we'll get Warrior 2.0. Or we'll get Scotty 2.0. I mean, he's back right now taking care of his old account while we're
going through clones like they're going out. We're going through Scotty clones like they're going out of fashion.
But at the same time, it's no longer, a Force Ghost can't actually make money, so therefore they can't spend money. So, it to see what happened outside of that, it was very, very troubling. And Scotty took the same step as you did, Warrior. but I really hope we do get to see you again. And we will stay in contact, and you absolutely let us know if there's anything the Escape Pod and the Castaways can do for you.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and I love the community and everybody that's out there. And like I said, I'm still on YouTube. We're still going to have some fun. So I'm not going anywhere. And I am still going to be on RSG on Saturday mornings for as long as my memory allows. I mean, as long as I can answer questions, I'm going to stay on Saturday mornings and try and answer questions.
Good.
But when
That's
I get
good
to the
to hear
point
that
where
you're still going to do Jedi Academy.
Yeah.
I get my bowl of cereal. It's like Saturday morning cartoons. I get my bowl of cereal and I get to watch Jedi Academy.
But I mean, when they start asking me about like the pirates and stuff, I'll be like, you know what I mean? Because the pirate faction's coming this year, and I won't know anything about their mechanics. So
there'll be a comedy value to that, though.
I don't tease me with Hondo Ohnaka, Warrior. Please do not tease me with Hondo Ohnaka.
This year, brother. He's coming this year. Be ready. For a fact. He's coming.
Oh man!
Spoiler.
La. Nev, take us home, man.
Hey, man.
It's
2020. 2020.
Hindsight is 2020. Nev, take us out.
Well, just want to say thanks for coming on, mate. Appreciate you coming on and giving everybody a few bits and pieces and a brief explanation to our viewers as to the reasons why you are retiring and hanging up your hat. So I just want to say thanks a lot to that, and to everybody else. Stay tuned, and we will be right back after this break.